Other news now, and Canada. And Canada's Defence Ministry was criticised for ordering 20,000 orange stress balls. It's not entirely clear what the criticism was based on, whether it was the cost or what the Canada has to be so stressed about.
Yeah.
But perhaps that's a smart idea, Andy. Make sure that your Defence Department is always calm. Put decaffeinated coffee in the machine, use soft lighting, set the temperature in the building to cosy, and make sure there are plenty of stress balls. Orange ones, to be specific, apparently the most effective colour of stress ball, and thus you'll ensure that your Defence Department never gets you into any unnecessary wars.
Well, I guess, the obvious conclusion to draw from this Canadian Defence Ministry ordering 20,000 orange stress balls is that someone was planning to build a stress ball statue of Wayne Gretzky dressed as an orange. But as you said, what is going to threaten? What is going to threaten the Canadian Defence Forces, other than the sense of its own futility? Unless an ice hockey match really kicks off, John, the closest they're likely to come to being invaded is if a celebrity polar explorer gets pissed, swallows his compass, and ends up riding a polar bear onto Baffin Island shouting, "Am I getting warmer or colder?"
But you do wonder how history could have been different had certain members of the, say, Bush administration had orange stress balls surgically implanted into their hands and mouths. I think we might be living in a happier world by now. Think of what would have happened if Neville Chamberlain had said, "I have in my hand a squeezy stress ball. I gave one to Herr Hitler as well, and he loves it too, and has promised to calm it the down a bit."
I've done some research into this, John, and I think 75% of all wars would have been stopped by the preemptive application of orange stress balls.
Yeah.
Including the First World War. All right, Kaiser Wilhelm, keep your spike on. Squeeze this squidgy bratwurst, you'll feel absolutely fine in no time.
See, mate,
the 20,000 orange stress balls airdropped by the Canadian Air Force over the Middle East would do more for the situation there than a year of peace talks, or even than Tony Blair and his magic donkey of reconciliation. That is a fact.
The worst it will do is the same amount of good. Now, I think you're right. I think the Canadians are really onto something here. This brilliant plan for world peace is also apparently nothing new in Canada, as according to a newsletter, in October 2010, on International Conflict Resolution Day, soldiers at 8 Wing Trenton in Canada were encouraged to stop by a kiosk on the base to, and I quote, "pick up a stress ball and partake of the cake that will commemorate this auspicious day." I've got to tell you, Andy, Canadians love maple syrup, they love ice hockey, but they love stress balls. But there is bad news, because when Canadian Defence Minister Peter MacKay found out about the latest order, he cancelled it, with a statement from his spokesman saying, as soon as Minister MacKay was made aware of this contract, he instructed officials to immediately cancel this unnecessary expense of taxpayer money. Are you crazy? You can't just cut Canadians off from the one thing that's keeping them from being bilingual, bloodthirsty killing machines. You have to wean them off. You can't go cold turkey. They're going to be frantically squeezing anything vaguely round or orange in the hope that they can get rid of some stress without having to launch a nuclear missile. And if that object doesn't squeeze, Andy, so help us, they are going to kill every man, woman and child in a 5,000-mile radius. We need to airdrop stress balls over Canada now, and for God's sake make them orange, because apparently that's somehow important. Because, and let me reiterate this to the world, just in case you don't understand how serious this story is, the Canadians love beavers, they love Avril Lavigne, but they love stress balls. May God have mercy on our souls.
Well, it's good that they're taking stress seriously in the Canadian Defence Ministry, John, because as Franklin Delano Roosevelt himself said, the only thing we have to worry about is worry itself, before being advised to ratchet up the rhetoric to get a bit of media traction. OK, Franklin, we've heard back from the focus group. Could you go with fear instead of worry? OK, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, and Winifred the man-eating crocodile, and treading on upholstery pins, and bits of meat that might be past their best but look and smell just about OK, and the Mexicans and their heavy food. Can you... and the unexpectedly rapid rise of the Nazi Party in Germany, and spiders, and the missus when you've left your socks on the floor. The fellas know what I'm talking about. And Eleanor's roast chicken, she could overcook a volcano. Sorry, I'm going off topic. The point is...
You're not just going off topic, you're going off accent now, Andy.
I don't have your level of dramatic training, John.
I've waited so long to hear you say that.
For 20 seconds, I thought Stantonio was back.